What if I told you that a 20-story tower could legally be built right next to your quiet single-family home, and there's almost nothing that your local council can do to stop it? The 2023 Homes for People plan has officially moved from policy to the pavement. Today, we're looking at what I call the golden doorknock. Home sellers dream of a developer knocking on their door and offering them substantially more than the market value for their property. For some, it's a multi-million-dollar payday, but for others, it's completely cratered their property value and added years of construction chaos. Whether you're in the heart of Surrey or in the quiet streets of White Rock or really anywhere in British Columbia, the rules have changed. In today's video, I'm breaking down transit-oriented areas, or TOAs. We'll cover the specific zones where this is happening in my community of South Surrey and White Rock, and Surrey generally, but the information is critical regardless of where you live or where you're considering buying in British Columbia. And stick around to the end because we're going to cover one mistake sellers are making right now that could literally cost them everything.
You only get one chance to buy or sell your next home. Let's get it right.
Before we kick off, if you're thinking about buying or selling in White Rock or South Surrey, the biggest mistake you can make right now is relying on outdated advice or guessing for your next move. The market has shifted, and what worked even 6 months ago could cost you tens of thousands today. My name is Darren. I'm a local realtor living and working right here in White Rock and South Surrey, and I've been helping families just like yours buy and sell here since 2007. And since then, I've worked with hundreds of clients, many of whom found me right here on this YouTube channel because they wanted straight answers, real local insight, and a strategy that actually works. On this channel, I'm breaking down exactly what's happening in our market, what to watch out for, and how to make smart decisions so you don't leave any money on the table. So if you want to stay ahead of the market, hit subscribe. And if you're serious about making a move, there's a link below to book a quick call with me and my team. No pressure, just clear advice so you can move forward with confidence. Back in 2023, the BC government dropped a bombshell with the Homes for People plan. The goal was simple but aggressive: fix the housing crisis by force. They introduced Bill 44 and Bill 47, which effectively stripped municipalities of the power to say no to density near transit. Fast forward to today, major projects like the Surrey to Langley SkyTrain are nearing completion, and White Rock has officially updated its official community plan to align with these mandates. Same with the city of Surrey. This isn't a future plan anymore. It's the current law. The core of this plan is really twofold: transit-oriented areas, or TOAs, and something called the Small Scale Multi-Unit Housing Initiative. Let's start with TOAs. The government basically drew circles around every SkyTrain station and major bus loop, including future stations and loops. And while I'm focusing on Surrey and White Rock in this video, keep in mind again that this is happening all over the province. And within these circles that they've created is where the real story lies, because the density within them is set to absolutely explode. So what do these circles actually look like? Well, for SkyTrain stations, the radius is broken down into 3 tiers. In tier 1, that's everything within 200 meters of the station. The law now mandates a minimum height of 20-story buildings. Between 200 and 400 meters, which is tier 2, we're looking at 12 stories or more. And tier 3 covers 400 meters to 800 meters, which is where the minimum is 8 stories. The crazy thing is, again, these are just the minimums. There are also strict rules around floor space ratio designed to absolutely maximize the number of units going into these buildings. But here's the part of the announcement that really catches people off guard. It's the total elimination of parking minimums. In these zones, the city can no longer force a developer to build parking for residents. And that is a problem. So what are we talking about here? Well, we're talking about the very real possibility of a 20-story tower going up with 0 parking spots. If you think the streets in our communities are crowded now, imagine a high-rise full of people with nowhere to park but the curb in front of the building or the curb in front of your house. It's a massive shift in how we think about neighborhood infrastructure. And it isn't just limited to SkyTrain stations. Let's talk about major bus loops, as I mentioned earlier, because this is the one that a lot of people are missing. Even without a train, a major bus exchange, like the one coming to Semiahmoo Town Center, or the existing ones in Newton or the Scottsdale area, they trigger their own zones labeled as tiers 4 and 5. Anything in tier 4 between 0 to 200 meters has a minimum height of 12 stories now. And anything between 200 to 400 meters in tier 5 has a minimum of 8 stories. In Surrey, areas like Fleetwood and Clayton are transforming into urban hubs overnight. It's high energy and high growth, but in White Rock, it's a different story. The Semiahmoo Town Center plan is evolving from a retail mall into a true downtown core. And if you live near the 152nd Street corridor, your quiet seaside White Rock is being replaced by mid-rise density. In fact, many would argue it's more like high-rise density. In fact, I did a complete breakdown of the Semiahmoo Town Center plan on our YouTube channel, which you can go check out right now. It's there. There's no doubt in my mind, though, the neighborhood character isn't just changing, it's being completely rewritten. Let's talk a little bit more about that new bus loop specifically. As of April 2026, this project has moved from a vision into critical infrastructure requirements. First, you have the Semiahmoo Shopping Center master plan. The mall owner, First Capital, has a phase plan where the long-range vision specifically designates a portion of that site to become a centralized transit hub. This will be where the commercial and civic heart of South Surrey actually lives. The second factor here is the smoking gun. The King George Boulevard Bus Rapid Transit, or BRT. TransLink in the city of Surrey are moving full steam ahead on this. It connects Surrey City Centre directly to Semiahmoo Town Centre, and as of early of 2026, they finalized the designs for 12 stations along this route, which just happens to be about 19 kilometers in total. Because BRT is considered high-frequency rapid transit, that terminus we're talking about at Semiahmoo reinforces its status as a major bus exchange, which locks in those 12-story and 8-story mandates. This isn't just a new bus stop, it's a regional hub. And if you're within 2 blocks of this future hub, you aren't just in a neighborhood anymore, you're in a high-density urban core. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about that golden door knock that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. But before we get into that, just a quick heads up. If you're even thinking about buying a home anywhere in BC, you'll want to grab a copy of our free guide, 18 Grants and Rebates for Home Buyers. We've pulled together every program that we could find from federal, provincial, and even some lesser-known local ones, plus links, tips, and simple ways to actually use them. Most of these are buried, confusing, or completely missed by buyers, and this could save you thousands. It's free, and you can download it right now using the link in the description of this video. Okay, so what is a golden door knock exactly, and why should a buyer and a seller care? For those that don't know, a golden door knock happens when a homeowner gets pretty lucky. You bought a property in an area that became ripe for development. A developer knocks on your door and they offer you substantially more than your property is worth because it's currently at its least valuable use. By building towers, the developer stands to make a lot of money. So they pass some of that profit on to you to get the deal done. Many people in these areas are waiting and holding out for that golden door knock. And while it works out for some, it can be incredibly negative for others. For sellers, do not assume your land is worth 10 times the value just because you're in a 20-story zone. Developers are picky. If your lot is too small to assemble with the others, or if the utility pipes underground can't handle a tower, you might be stuck. The worst case scenario is your neighbor gets bought out, a tower goes up beside you, and you're left living in its shadow with a property that is now much harder to sell to a family. You might have the density, but no one to buy it. The only interested buyer is maybe like someone like the city who's going to flatten your existing house to turn it into a community park. Don't be that home seller that gets stuck between 2 towers. If you're a home buyer, you do have to do future due diligence. Don't just look at the house, look at the transit tier. Are you buying a home that will be surrounded by jackhammers and cranes for the next decade? Or how close do you actually want to be to density? Are you willing to lose your sunshine in your backyard? The BC real estate landscape is more complex than ever, but the opportunity for those who understand the map is massive. However, the transit-oriented area plan we're discussing in today's video isn't the only piece of the story. If you recall, I mentioned the Small-Scale Multi-Unit Housing Initiative, or SSMUH. If you live a bit further out from the city centers, you need to understand how that affects suburban neighborhoods all across the province. That initiative affects almost every single-family lot, even those nowhere near transit. If you're curious about learning more about what I'm talking about, the good news is that's exactly what I'm breaking down in my next video, which is coming up right now. So I'll see you over there. The residents of this neighborhood don't know it yet, but this neighborhood is going to be completely upended over the coming years about new zoning regulations that are taking effect all across British Columbia.